Invasive species cost us a lot of money and they do a lot of damage to the environment. And they're doing this all under our noses. No one really talks about invasive species, so today I'm going to explain what they are, how they spread, and how they're really bad for us and the environment. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you do, please consider subscribing. And this is for those who don't know what invasive species are. Invasive species are species of animal or plant that pose a threat to native species and ecosystems. Invasive species are usually brought from one continent to another or one country to another by humans, and they can be brought either deliberately or accidentally. Those introduced deliberately are known as introduced species. Introduced species may be brought several ways, either as pets or livestock or just for fun or eradicating other pests. If released to the wild, introduced species may get out of hand and destroy local ecosystems, therefore becoming invasive. Not all introduced species become invasive species, but most do. Invasive species also deal a lot of economical damage. Out of all invasive animal groups, invasive insects tend to do more damage, as they're more likely to be unnoticed and slip beneath our noses. Like the Asian longhorn beetle, which attacks trees of Northern America. These trees provide homes to many animals, and once destroyed, they leave many animals homeless, and these animals flee to urban or suburban areas. And in those cities, they plague residents and damage property, causing chaos all over the city. Repairing damage caused by these animals is really expensive, but solving the solution entirely is extremely difficult and tricky. We can't go around killing every single invasive animal on Earth because it's cruel and it's unnecessary. We don't need to do it. So the question is, what do we do about this problem and how do we solve it? Some governments are trying to solve this problem by making it legal to kill every single invasive or non-native species present in the country. But this solution should be temporary, as it doesn't solve any long-term problems, and no one really knows what a solution is right now. Some consider injecting or introducing a foreign parasite to infect certain invasive species. Because we're still working on a solution right now, it's really important that we prevent this problem from happening or getting worse. This is why when you're at an airport or you're crossing an international border, they check your luggage for exotic flora or fauna that might be invasive to the region. And it's important to cooperate with these people, otherwise you'll cause a ruckus and maybe potentially destroy an ecosystem. Here's some wild examples of invasive species around the world. Hippos are invasive to South America. They're originally native from Africa, but a few escaped private ownership and have started breeding. They have food, water, and shelter, but they don't have any predators in South America, so they're doing really well there. While their population is steadily increasing, hippos take a very long time to breed or multiply, so it will be a good long while before they reach a scary amount and do some actual damage. Because of this, we have quite some time left in our hands to think of a proper solution, but we should do something before it's too late. Cats are also invasive species. They're found on every single corner of the world, but they prefer living in urban areas. Cities make for perfect cat breeding grounds, as there is unlimited food. Cats aren't that picky when it comes to what they hunt, and they have no natural predators. No one really kills feral cats, so they will multiply like crazy. Cats can be quite dangerous and damaging to other ecosystems. They have led to the extinctions of many different bird species. There is a story about a man who brought his cat along with him when he moved to New Zealand. And this cat used to kill 1 or 2 birds every day, as this man let his cat out. He slowly started to decimate populations of flightless birds. And eventually, with the help of his or her cat friends, He almost single-handedly brought down a bird from New Zealand, a flightless bird, called the Stephens Island wren. This is definitely not the cat's fault, as they're doing what their instincts tell them to do. This is most likely the human's fault for either letting their cat out every day or abandoning or losing their cat. So that's about it for cats. Another very famous species which is invasive to the country they're in are rabbits. Rabbits are known for breeding really quickly, so even if a predator takes a bite out of them, there'll be way too many rabbits for them to eat. They also damage a lot of Australian plants. And here's a fun fact for you. The reasons that Australia's rabbits even exist is because a man liked hunting them, so he introduced them to Australian mainland. Now, the last invasive species that I want to talk about is the lionfish. Lionfish are really fascinating fish, but sadly they're also invasive in the Atlantic Ocean. And they're also apex predators, which means no fish dines on them. And because they're on top of the food chain, they eat anything that they see, which is why invasive lionfish numbers are exploding. These fish are originally native to the Indian Ocean and parts of the Pacific Ocean. They were probably introduced to the ocean by pet owners who released their fish. Oh, and here's the fun fact about lionfish. Their spines are poisonous, so if you touch them, you will get stung. And that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed. And remember, don't ever release your pet, as they might become invasive once they enter local habitats.